But I've got a little myth which is not related to golf swing or fitting, actually. And I think that this
Markets
is a
don't pay the bills.
markets don't pay the bills. You've got to think bigger than that. You've got to go plural. You've got many markets.
Okay.
No, it's to do with this is more of a businessy related one, or actually a sponsorship related one, and really primarily aimed at sort of those golfers at the golf club that are, top amateurs or certainly pretty good amateurs who want to turn pro. And it's their view on what sponsorship is. That's what I want to talk about. So basically, they think that logo placement is sponsorship, and that could not be further from the truth. My view on how this should work, and this is, I'm not sure if I've said it on here before, but basically, sponsorship is access to an audience. That's what you're paying for. You've then got to spend some dough activating that audience in order to win the business. So just bear with me here. Imagine, let's rewind the clock because we're talking about it earlier about nightclubs when we were out for lunch earlier today. And if you spent 10 or 20 bucks entering a nightclub, that bit, that money that you've paid to access that nightclub, access that audience in the nightclub, that's sponsorship. The rest of it is marketing. So when you're inside the nightclub and you're trying to joust a little bit with whoever you're trying to joust with, you've got to put out a bit of charisma. You've got to buy a few drinks at the bar. That's marketing.
Not
That's what it
anymore. I
takes to
think you
win the
just swipe
business.
left, swipe right now.
Yeah, but you got to pay for the app, right? There's your entry point. Swiping left, swiping right. That's only going to lead you to a restaurant that you got to pay for. So ultimately, that's still marketing. The principle is still exactly the same. It's not going to change. So my frustration, which I think is a myth when it comes to a lot of these young golfers as they come to or try to come to the ranks, is they speak to the wealthiest member in the golf club because they've figured out who that person is. And they go, "Oh, hey, Billy Big Boy, listen, I'm really looking for sponsorship to go into next year. I've got to pay for these golf lessons that cost this much, the gym memberships this, travels that, entry fees are this, blah, blah,
Where
blah,
did
blah,
Billy
blah."
Big Boy get his cash from?
Insurance, I think. Or
Okay.
insurance selling it to those people that were buying DVDs in Malaysia.
I was going to get there. Yeah.
I know you were. Trust me, I know you were. So he's made all his dough. Perfect. He's happy. But the young sort of wannabe pro is kind of laying out this case and saying, look, if there's any chance that you can give me like 5 or 10 grand next year to go towards that, that would be perfect. And in exchange, I'll put a logo on my shirt somewhere and perfect. Nah, that's not the way that you should do it, because these youngsters that are coming to the ranks, they know people. They don't appreciate they know people, but they know people. What they should be doing is auditing their contacts book, figuring out, who the market sellers are, who the insurance guys are, who this guy is, who that person is, and really start to audit that down. So the next time they go to Billy Big Boy and they say, "Hey, look, I noticed you're in insurance. I've got a business opportunity for you." They go, "Okay, what's that all about?" Then they'd say, okay, what I want to do is I want to host 3 networking days where I bring you along to play in, me with 2 other guys, play a 4-ball at this golf course, and this golf course. It's an opportunity for you to meet people in my network, which you might be able to go out and do business with. In addition to that, I'll do some company golf experiential stuff with some of your VIP clients. We'll get them out into the golf course. We'll roll out the red carpet. We'll play that course and this course, and maybe we go and watch a football game in the afternoon or whatever it might be. And however you choose to narrate that, the point is that you're allowing a potential sponsor to access your network. So at the end, then that young pro should be able to say, okay, so in exchange for all of that access to my network, that's going to be worth 7.5, 10 grand to you for next year. And in addition to that, what I'll do is I'll put logo placement on my golf bag just so that people will recognize that I'm in association with you. And that allows me to create further introductions beyond the scope of logo placement. Now you're starting to, if you're Billy Big Boy with your insurance company, you're thinking, I've got these 2 opportunities. One sounds like it's a charity case, and the other one is actually genuinely trying to help me access his audience. Which one are you likely to spend your money with? It's obviously going to be the second one, right?
So why do you think that's a common belief? Is it because I'm sticking to golf? Is it because we don't really see the behind the scenes? All we see is, news story breaks that Sergio Garcia has signed with Adidas, and we suddenly then see him with logos all over him. Is it because that's all we see? So we just assume that's the deal?
Yeah, and it's synonymous with all sports. So it's not just, you can't just single out golf. You know, you look at Liverpool with Standard Chartered in the front, or you see Ronaldo with his Nike boots on, or whatever it might be. You always see that association with logo placement. But the logo placement, it's a significant part of the deal, but it's not the deal. It's just a factor. It's an asset. It's one part of many parts to create that agreement. So the best way to look at it is, it's almost like a bit of wrapping paper is the best way to say it. So you're showing that, yes, you're sponsoring that athlete or that team, but and it's just a wrapping paper around it that suggests that, but the brand still has to spend a load of dough in activation. Like, so I know a guy, right, really top guy, and his company sponsors a Premier League football team. They spend circa 3 million quid on the sponsorship deal. He then asks his marketing director, because he's asking me for my ideas, and we're just noodling through it, and I'm trying to give him a bit of guidance on this, that, and the next thing. And so I then say, well, how much are you spending on activation? He said, what do you mean? And I said, well, you just spent 3 million accessing the audience. How much are you spending, stimulating the audience? And he says, well, I don't know. I'll check. So, okay, well, ask your marketing director what they should be spending on marketing. So she comes back to him. I can't remember what her name is now. I shouldn't probably say anyway. And she says 20 grand. And I'm like, hang on a second. You're spending 3 million on accessing the audience, and you're going to spend 20 grand, suddenly going to win all this business. Where the hell does that come from? You're so far off the mark.
So was the follow-up to that, instead, sponsor the Dope Stroke Show podcast and we'll activate it?
Well, I said, sponsor us for $1 million and we'll activate you for 2 million. And so the contract's on its way, boys, just so you know. But yeah, so in terms of myths, I think that if a lot of these guys that are coming through the ranks, if they could just lose the mindset that logo placement is sponsorship, they'll find far more inventive ways to be able to attract sponsorship. And I'm talking about that specifically at the lower level. But as you can see, even the big companies and the big entities, they get it wrong all the time.
I think a bit
brands. Well, hang on a second. The only brands that really do this in the best possible way are the most established brands in sports sponsorship. So when you think of like Adidas or GoPro, Red Bull, TaylorMade, these are companies that have built businesses off the back of sports marketing and sports sponsorships. So they know how to do it well. They're the ones that typically activate really good off the back of the sponsorships they have. It's the ones that have got loads of dough and they spend loads of money on other types of marketing that are not connected to sport. They are the ones that make the most mistakes, even if they've got billions in the bank. See it all the time.